you're the problem. See, it's a big, like, excuse. It's easy, it's easy to kind of think that way. And I think there's a lot of cognitive dissonance because I experienced it where, you start having these beliefs. And so even if you get facts presented that are contrary to that, it doesn't go in because of the brainwashing. It's easier to rationalize it and think, oh, that's crazy. It's not true. Like if I were to talk to some of my very intelligent friends and tell them, oh, there are a lot of FBI confidential informants there on January 6th who were not arrested and who are on video. I can send them the video of them, like this guy, Ray Epps, one guy. There are many of them. They'll say, oh, you're just watching Fox. Like, I can't believe you believe that. That'll be the common answer. Or look at the vaccine. People have short memories. So when you question the vaccine and point out things, they'll dismiss things that even they themselves know to be true. Like, for example, they were told and lied to about, number one, if you get the vaccine, you're not going to get COVID-19, which was on the news all the time. That's false. Number two, you can't transmit it. That's also false. So they don't factor in all the times when, they were told something that's incorrect. They just kind of forget that. That's been my experience. Yeah. And they also, they tend to think, oh, these conservatives, they're racist. They don't like Indians. They're, like anti-Hindu. Now, there are people like that. There are people that are racist or like, say, very Christian and they don't like other religions, but they tend to be in the minority. You can also find a lot of black people or Indian people who are racist too. It's not just one group of people. But if you look at the power structure, who do they want to supplant? That's the existing power structure. So if you can attack all white men and make them sort of vulnerable, well, then you have a way of kind of replacing them and install the people that you want, the current power structure. And if you install a bunch of socialists and communists, well, then there you go, with the promise of creating a more equitable society. That's always the roots. Look at the Bolshevik Revolution. Look at fascism. Look what happened in Nazi Germany. That's the power of brainwashing, or Stalin, or Mao's Red China. You can control a huge group of very intelligent people through brainwashing, like a cult. And we're living in a big cult right now. Our country. There's brainwashing, propaganda involved. So, that's the main thing I see is cognitive dissonance. Like, even if you tell them the facts, they'll dismiss it. And like, for example, with 2020, bioterror. If you present facts on that, they'll say, oh no, this is fake news. Fake news. That's the other thing. Trump exposed the media and how corrupt they are. That's why they hate him so much. I have never seen anybody expose the media for what they are like him, which is why he's dangerous. He's scary. He can't be bought off. We can't control this guy like we can with Romney or McCain or Bush. Like, we can't have this. And he's unwinding what we've built for decades and awakening a majority of the people who want our heads now. Like, this guy is dangerous. So, a lot of Indians, I think, they just kind of just buy that media narrative. That's the biggest problem. Mainstream media narrative.
And I do wonder, like, based on your activism, especially you are very active in like the conservative circle and Indian American circle, do you think Asian Americans are a voting bloc in Houston now?
Yes. Houston's a big Asian population, but He's got some big voting problems. There's a lot of voter fraud in Houston and Dallas too. But they're an important voting bloc, and increasingly, they are very important. Like Fort Bend is a good example. Very important voting bloc. And so everybody's, a lot of people are focused on the Asian demographic now. Especially because Democrats see more Hispanics becoming conservative with the illegal immigration issue. Black men especially, they're losing a lot of black men. Black women still heavily Democrat, but they've lost some numbers there. Married women, they're underwater, but with maybe single women, that's a good demographic for them. The very young people. But Asians, especially because I think Asians are getting more involved probably with their money because they have money and they're getting more involved politically. I think GOP especially is trying to get a bigger tent. They realize they can't just, focus on their old way, and they need to expand and be more diverse. So definitely. I see that Asians see that they've got more influence, because not just because they become, wealthier and increased in numbers, but also, now they've been here for a while, so they want to have a say in how things are run, and for the next generation, they want the same American dream that they've lived. Why are all these people coming to America if it's so horrible? That's the thing, And so Americans they take things for granted. They don't understand how much they have going for them. And they tend to be really soft because they have a high standard of living. So they have time to just complain about a lot of things, and they take it for granted. And a lot of Americans, they just haven't seen the other side and traveled and to see how fortunate we are. Yeah. And a lot of immigrants tend to be patriotic for that reason, because they know that the alternatives.
I think you mentioned even GOP knows they cannot do the old ways, and then they have to reach out to Asian
yes.
communities. Can you tell me, based on what observation do you think they are changing?
I just see more of an outreach, just trying to invite and reach out to supporters who are conservative, no matter, whether what race, ethnicity. I definitely hear them talking a lot about legal immigrants. Because illegal immigrants, especially with illegal immigration, they figured out, oh, wait a minute, a lot of legal immigrants have a unique perspective. So I just think that they're just inviting, trying to show up at different venues and trying to access, the different audiences. At least they're talking about it, and I just see more people voting that are minorities, than before. So I think it's working. People want a positive message, and I think they want to believe in the future of the U.S. and that we're a great country. And so I think that's a powerful message that I think the majority of people, that's what they're going to respond to. They don't want to keep hearing about how horrible the U.S. is, how it's inherently racist and taking advantage of so many people, and, no country's been this powerful, but then has done so much to help other countries also. So no country is perfect. Every country, pretty much, they act, in their own best interests. And the U.S., just because it's been so powerful, it has more of an impact. So, and a lot of people don't want the U.S. to be that powerful. Like I was mentioning, because they have a different global agenda, and a very strong, independent, capitalistic, freedom-loving country that goes against the narrative in almost any other country, where these other governments,